Hey guys, Coach Mike here with episode 12 of Mob of the Week. In last week's episode, we worked on smashing the glutes. So now today we're gonna work around to the front side and spend some time on those hips. So if we spend way too much time in a seated position, or we're just doing a ton of loaded squats, or maybe you're just running miles upon miles, you're probably having some tension and stiffness in the hips that doesn't allow you to fully extend, or it just kind of hurts all the time. It's gonna keep you from getting in good position, and we wanna prevent that from happening. So I'm gonna show you some static and flowy stretches that you can do. No tools necessary, so no excuses. Let's get right to it. Position number one is gonna be from the floor. So all we're gonna do is take a lunging position, extend the back leg, hands will come down, get this back leg extended and driven down into the floor. And we're gonna experiment with some different movement here. This might be enough for you. We can come to a knee or up into a kneeling position. We can come down and push out on the knee. Or if you really wanna go crazy here, we can pin that foot down, look away, or even cross the opposing arm over and drive the knee out in this manner. Now, if you're having a hard time getting up and down from the floor, we can modify those same three movements from a box. So we're gonna put our leg up, we're gonna extend that back leg as much as we can, and we can just start from the lunging position. We can also modify the movement by pinning the leg down and turning away. Or if we have enough capabilities to or flexibility, we can come down, pin down the foot, drive out the knee. Really add rotation by turning this way. Now if we want to go a little bit more to the outside of the hip or go a little bit deeper into the stretch, we can take it all the way to the floor. Some of you may know this as a modified pigeon pose or figure 4 stretch. What we're going to do is actually allow that, again, shoot one leg back and allow the opposite leg to drive all the way down to the floor. Now we may also assume this position by allowing one knee to drop to the floor, bringing an opposite leg behind you, and coming forward. Okay, but the goal will be to extend this back leg, get it fully extended behind you, keep that shin perpendicular to your body, and then if this is enough of a stretch, that's great. You're gonna really feel this up through here. So if this is your tight area, this is gonna be where you wanna be. And then you want to sink your body down. If you can get to the forearms, awesome. You wanna reach out and experiment with different range, go from different sides. Okay, you're gonna feel this in different places. You can add rotation, and I personally felt a really good one coming out to that same side, so reaching out over that bent knee and collapsing forward. And just like before, if we're having difficulty getting up and down from the floor, we can modify this to the box. I prefer to let my foot hang over the box, that way the flat surface isn't bearing into my ankle. But we can just take that same position, leg bent at 90 degrees and perpendicular to your torso, extend that back leg, you can reach out in front, you can add rotation in either direction, you can allow the forearms to come down, you can bring the knee in, you can see my back knee here, and you can just sink straight down, or you can add that extension and collapse forward. Now these next two stretches may seem counterproductive because we're trying to open up the hips because you sit too much, and this stretch is going to happen from the seated position. Well, sometimes you don't always have the option to get up and away from our chair and move around a little bit, but there's still some stretches you can do from a seated position. Now I just want to make note that we're not necessarily working the hip flexors in any of these stretches, we're working the surrounding areas that are causing hip dysfunction. So we want to open up pathways throughout the chain so you can have better hip extension, better drive, and better external rotation. So that doesn't mean that we're working hip flexors. That's why you don't see me down there smashing my hip flexors. We did that last week. This is more about working around those areas. So some different stretches we can do here. Simply bringing one leg up over the other, and then adding a trunk rotation so I can reach this arm out across the outside of the leg and turn. And depending on how good the audio on that camera is, you had a real good crack down my back on that one. So this is a really good stretch. But the one I like even better is opposite. So pinning down that leg and driving the knee down. So this is where you're gonna feel high up in the groin on the inside of the hip, opening up. Because these last few stretches have been really working the outside, But here, really great stretch. You can sink down as deep as you want to. Think about it a little bit. Or if you're already pumping out some Globo Gym curls, use that dumbbell and add some extra weight. This can be a medicine ball. This can be a super friend. You can have your cameraman walk over here and push down on your knee. Whatever it needs to be. I'm just gonna let this dumbbell sit here for a little bit, bust out my book, read some scripture here, and then put it away and go back to business now that I have all this added mobility in my hip. So that's it for today's episode. Work at those hips. The hips don't lie, I heard somebody say. So get that work done, and we will see you next week with the next episode of Mob of the Week.